probably 3% for Washington. So I want to, because I got some questions, and there was some people that were alarmed because of this, but there was a reason why it was done this way. So that's, am I missing anything, Brandon?
I don't believe so. Right. We needed to, well, if I may.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Brandon Maris with Williams Works, and most of you know that, so it's nice to be with you today. And I guess sticking with the utility theme here tonight, but regarding the drinking water state revolving fund and the clean water revolving fund, last fall we issued what they call intent to applies into EGLE. These are programs run through the the Department of Energy or Environment, Great Lakes Energy, run through EGLE, and that is the pathway to get to the grants that everyone's hearing about, that Flint gets, that other communities get, but seem, based on the calculation, to be out of reach for the city of Lowell at this time. So, but we did put the, before we knew that, they did not have the formulas out, the spreadsheets out and such that allowed communities to go through the exercise to determine if they were, what they consider now overburdened or significantly overburdened is how they term those communities that get access to the funds. So we put the intent to applies into EGLE. We put in a $6.6 million intent to apply for the water plant. That was based on a report that Williams Works had prepared in 2019. Costs had gone up significantly since then. Just real briefly on the water plant, what we recommended in that report was to expand it as it is now with the solids contact clarifier, with anthracite gravel filtration. It's built that way. The original plant has common walls that can be expanded. So that was the decision or the recommendation of the report. You've got awards from the American Water Works Association on the quality of your water as well. So people were not interested in looking at like a nano filtration, a membrane filtration, which was the other technology we looked at for treating the water here. So we put that together. So now we would estimate that to be about a $6.6 million project, which would also include additional supply, another well in the well field. So switching gears to the wastewater plant, we'd also done a report about a year later, and we recognized one of the significant, bottlenecks in that plant is the headworks. So we need a larger screen, we need a reconfigured grit chamber to prevent overflows at extreme high flow rates, to get more water through there. And we know the flooding that happens here in this community, and work has been done to reduce the impact of the flooding, and that's been somewhat successful, and those efforts will continue. But as Mike alluded to, the new headworks is a big need there at the wastewater treatment plant. In addition, to handle more flow, we would want another oxidation ditch. We evaluated several other pieces of technology, but we determined and recommended in the report that a third oxidation ditch would be the most economical and make the most sense from an operation standpoint, a consistency standpoint, and that of course would have a secondary clarifier at the end of it for clarification processes, and we would want that to be a little bit larger than the ones that are there now on the original design. That's also a little bit of a bottleneck. So if we get more clarifier capacity, we could better handle these events, and then that would also include some sludge storage to meet the demands of the solids generation from that process. So we were up to about a $12 million project back then, and now we're up to like 16 million or so. So we and then coupled with the extension of M50, we put out a $26 million intent to apply. But that is as far as it's going to go at this point.
In your crystal ball, what do you see as the
We already got a crystal ball, you gotta come up with
from where we're at today, by putting in the third and the second thing, what does that give us capacity for future growth? Where does that look?
At the wastewater, or excuse me, the water plant.
The wastewater.
Like the wastewater plant.
Because aren't we at 85% capacity today, or close to that, Mike?
Right.
Yeah, we're under 80,
but still, but as we grow, the community grows.
That would each one's just over 700,000, I believe. So So we're at about 1.4 now, or 1.42 or 43, I believe it is, rated capacity now. So I think it's 1.42. We would add another 710,000 gallons, 0.71 MGD, if we added another, a third oxidation ditch. But we'd also be able to handle higher peak flows, and so that would result in less direct discharges.
The growth would be the township.
Okay,
It's-
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Really, I mean, we could function just ourselves, we never have to expand the plant, but the growth is needed because of the township.
Right, but as Mike did point out, there's some aging infrastructure. The headworks really, would be,
Yeah.
if I had one project to do there, I would replace the headworks, and you probably know a lot about it. Mr. Eggers.
Any public comment on anything?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a public comment?
Yep.
It's just looking for the mic. Sorry. It's Dennis Kent, 1700 Faith Drive. The city manager answered one of my questions on this, and that I just want to encourage you to keep looking for grants. There's a lot of money around, at least for a while, at the state level, federal level. But I would also like to, at the risk of insulting the townships, when we finally do pursue this, I think there should be some differential in the rates, the repayments between the township and the city. As was noted, the growth is being generated in the township, and that needs to be recognized in the rates. Those of us in the city that have been here for 30 years aren't causing this. And, I don't want to say we don't have some responsibility, but I think the townships ought to bear a little more of that.
Yeah, I have a very hard time asking our ratepayers, unless there's something unforeseen that I don't know about. I have a very hard time asking our ratepayers to have to pay for the expansion of these facilities, because we do not need them. The only thing we have to do at some point is the networks.
So just one other question I thought of as we're talking here. If this isn't happening for a while, and we're already in the sprinkling, not even sprinkling ban.
We haven't got there yet, but it's getting
Yeah.
close.
So are we trying to limit, or do we have the ability to limit how many new connections are made in the township, so that we don't end up with, odd even bans or worse?
We do have that. We do have some, our agreement with townships does allow some of that. It gets to a point where they start doing more development, so we can start saying no more.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
Bruce Barker again, Planning Commission. We had a joint planning session with the townships, and at that joint session, it was mentioned that in Lowell Township, I believe, that if they have like a new subdivision situation, or somebody comes in with a new subdivision, and it was over 15 houses or something like that, that there was a ban, that they simply could not do that. So hopefully that.
Yeah,
relays part
and
of it.
Jerry, the township has turned projects away.
Right,
They have already to
there,
this point.
there was talk of it.
Yeah, they have done that,
Yeah.
so that is.
Thanks, Bruce.
And we have sat and talked with them and started the conversations of how that's all going to look in the future. Again, it's protecting our ratepayers. That's priority one.
And recognizing the value of our product.
Yep.
All right. Susie, did you receive any written?
No, I did not.
Okay, anybody else? So we will close that public hearing. And we'll open the next one for the fiscal year 23-24 budget.
Yep, in front of you is the resolution for the budget this year. I did update your fee schedule just to include the modifications to the right-of-way permit fees. My memo that I wrote to you when I submitted the budget is what I submitted in the packet. I don't know if I need to get into that at length. We spent a lot of time with that at the budget meeting a couple weeks ago. We haven't made any changes since we last met. I think we have I think we're stretching money everywhere we can to try and get as many projects as we can get done. Try to be very creative about that. And I recommend the budget to be approved as we presented it. So I believe it's resolution 1123 is in front of you.
Any public comment on the budget?
Perry Beecham, Lowell Light Power Board. That approve what you're doing, that includes Lowell Light Power's budget
Yes,
as well?
yes, we included all.
Along with the capital improvements?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any council comments on the budget, Cliff?
No.
Jim?
None?
Marty?
Nope.
Leah?
None.
All right, and we will close the budget public hearing. And I'll look for a motion to approve resolution 1123 for this fiscal year.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
Any discussion? Mike, you'll extend our thanks to your staff, and
Absolutely.
I think you do a fantastic job with this budget every year.
Thank you.
It's easier every year.
Yeah,
That's the goal.
For us.
I try to make it as easy as
Yes,
possible.
staff.
It ain't easy for me, but I try to make it easy for you.
although you did hurt your finger this year.
Yeah, we need to get a paper cut.
Paper binders next year. Any other discussion? Sue?
Councilmember Salzweedl,
Yes.
Councilmember Yankovic.
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Groves, yes, Mayor DeVore.
Yes. Well, next one, item G, Hazard Mitigation Plan Resolution 1223.
Correct. Kent County has completed and adopted their new 5-year hazard mitigation plan in conjunction with the City of Grand Rapids and Ottawa County. Local units of government are required to adopt a hazard mitigation plan to make them eligible for federal financial assistance should there ever be a disaster in our community that requires a presidential declaration. It is also a requisite to receive any FEMA hazardous mitigation grants. For many years, all of the municipalities in Kent County and Ottawa County have adopted the overall plan. Just so for point of clarification, this has nothing to do with the issue pertaining to the flood maps as issued by FEMA. That is a entirely separate matter that the city is not involved in. Kent County has requested all municipalities approve the plan. I didn't put in your packet because it's 900 pages long, but I did send you the link, and I made sure it was in the...
Jim read every page.
I did skip 1 through 999.
I
I did
clicked on
view it
it,
as
and Mike is not exaggerating, it's 903 pages.
Yeah.
I looked at it.
I did too.
So, but, I mean, I'm pretty confident with what they do. They're very thorough with it, so I'm not concerned about it. I'm recommending for the Lowell City Council to approve Resolution 1223 for City of Grand Rapids, Kent and Ottawa County Hazardous Mitigation Plan as presented.
Any questions for Mike? Motion for resolution 1223,
So moved.
I'll support.
discussion?
Thanks for reading 900 pages.
Jim?
No?
I didn't read 900 pages. I just read the little parts.
Sue?
Councilmember Yankovic,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Groves, yes, Mayor DeVore,
Yes.
Councilmember Salzweedl.
Yes.
All right, Mike, let's talk about July.
So, yeah, I was asked to bring to the council to see whether or not you wanted to cancel the July 3rd meeting. Obviously, 4th of July is the next day. City operations will be closed on July 4th, obviously. And I know there's council members who have mentioned to me the possibility of just canceling the 3rd meeting. I know there was even some, I know there was even some talk about closing City Hall that day. so.
Yes, I would like to see City Hall closed that day. I think it'd be, is Light and Power going to be closed that day, Charlotte?
You have not had a discussion yet.
Okay. I just think making everybody come in on Monday. And we usually give the Friday before off, or we go early, go home early.
Yeah, it depends what you.
So it's the same 4-day weekend they would normally get. So my recommendation, and I don't even know that we'd have a quorum, because you're going to be out of town, right? And I may be gone.
Then I would be in charge.
You can show up for the meeting then. Okay. If there's no objections, the discussion Mike and I had would be to cancel the July 3rd meeting and close City Hall for the day and give employees and staff and the City Council a 4-day week.
And then we would pay bills as normal, we would just report it like we do at Christmas
Yep.
time.
Yep.
So,
Everybody cool with that? Consensus on that? Excellent. All right. Board and Commission reports, Cliff. Jim.
I had a couple. One of them is Lowell Power. Perry and Daniels still want to continue to serve on the board, so I just wanted to touch that, it was brought up to me. I don't know if this is coincidence or not, but Ryan celebrated his 7 years. Back in 2015, our percentage of keeping the lights on in Lowell was like 9.99. And you look prior to that, it was below that, so I don't know. It was brought up at the meeting if it was all Ryan and his new thing that he brought on, why we're at such high efficiency of keeping power on. The other one is Emily, also celebrated her 2nd year at Lowell Power. We did have an Arbor Board meeting today. One thing is my concern is making sure we have a quorum. We have a next one on June 5th. I know Williamson worked through there today to talk more about the tree ordinance. We had a rough draft, and we'll be bringing it back to our next meeting on June 5th, and we wanted to bring it to the board, the council on June 19th for approval.
Okay.
So that's kind of, but we want to make sure, this Perry, myself, and Jim Regan, but I don't know, Leah's looking at something else. Or
That's a 5-member board?
Yes.
Are they vacancies, or are they just people that aren't?
Just because of the times we've had it at noon. It used to be the first Monday of the month at noon. It was just hard to get a quorum, so then we changed it to 7 in the morning. And today was 8, we've gone to 8. It's just been hard to get, because we don't want to have another evening meeting. I mean, the evenings are kind of filled up, so we've tried to do it during the day, and it's tough to get volunteers to be on that board and attend.
Here's a question. Is there a way to, when you have a quorum, determine the next meeting date and time without having a set time for, like, we're here every other Monday at 7 p.m.?
Yeah,
If you notice it properly,
you
the
can
time
notice
doesn't.
it. Yeah, you just have, the only thing is you just have to, when you do that, I have to check with the city attorney, but I believe technically you have to just set them special meetings, which is not.
Yeah, that's just
Right,
an
yeah, you
extra
can do
word
that.
on the notice.
Exactly.
Right, but do you think that would be helpful if you weren't limited to a time? In the summer, maybe people want to go later because they're sleeping in and.
Again, we've gone from 12 meetings a year, one monthly, and we're down to like 6 throughout the year. It's just I'm not saying that it's not important, because the trees are important, and the trees are. So one of the caveats, one of the board members from Lowell Light and Power has to sit on the Arbor Board, and one of the council members have to sit on the board, and then there's 3 other
City
people,
residents.
and it's
Could
It's just
it be
difficult.
accomplished quarterly?
Would it be, it's seasonal too, right? I mean, do you meet in the winter and talk about trees?
I think usually in October is kind of our last meeting that we've had in the past. I don't remember having one in November, December, January.
September, November, January, March, and May. Those are what we've been doing. Then you get the summer off.
because the planting season is the best in the fall, and, I mean, there's a lot of things to it. It's just, when Light and Power was not looked favorably on how they were trimming trees, that's when the Arbor Board started. Since then, a different atmosphere has taken place in the city along with Light and Power, and so I think the Arbor Board just doesn't seem to be as crucial, as important as it was at one time.
Okay. Maybe you and I can figure out a time to come in and meet with Susie and we'll look at putting some
Yeah, the
applications
other thing
out.
is just that young gentleman that I think he came to the meeting, and I can't remember his name, that's it. So,
We can get to work on that,
Yep.
you and I and Susie.
other than that, that's what I have in my reports.
Mark?
Oh, we, planning got canceled.
Liz?
Parks is canceled for this month. I do the Chamber of Commerce, they did a lunch and learn, which was well attended by 22 people, which I think is really cool. There was quite a few people using counterfeit money in our little town of Lowell, and I think that it clarified some things for people and just gave them better confidence in what they are accepting. So I think that was pretty cool. I like it when people show up.
Fire authority was canceled, so I don't have anything. Questions for Mike on any of the budget reports for the month? All right, then we will go to the city manager's report.
Okay, a couple items. Thursday evening, we had our community meeting for Monroe. I thought it was pretty well attended. It was about an hour. It was about an hour. Had a lot of good questions. And I think people are getting more informed that the project is actually going to happen. So we're moving towards on that. We're also working on our application for Washington. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we can get that squared away. We should be going out for bids ready to go out for bids the next week or two for Grindle and Shepherd. I know Dan's working on that. Dan and I are working with Teresa Mott, Cody Chambers from Rotary. We're starting the planning to restore Creekside Kingdom. We're looking at probably doing a full reconstruction for it. I know they're going to be looking at doing some fundraising. I'm actually going to be writing a Spark grant on their behalf through the state of Michigan. So we've been working and meeting on that. In regards to the guidelines we talked about at the last meeting, city attorney and I are working on something for that. Hope to have that to you at the next meeting. It's just when we started inquiring with other communities to see if they had anything, I got no responses back. Our custodian has notified us that she's going to be retiring at the end of the month. So we do have a janitorial services RFP out. Currently, I believe the deadline for that is May 30th. May 30th, yep. We'll have a special meeting on June 5th at 5:30. Representatives from Flock Safety will be coming to talk to you and do a presentation to you about the cameras. I did invite the DDA board since we put in their budget for them to fund 3 of the cameras. Lou Bender will be here at the fire station Monday, June 12th at 5:30. And then Chief Hurst did notify me that we did receive a permit for the Memorial Day Parade on Memorial Day from MDOT, so the parade is on, and I believe he's actually the speaker this year.
Cool.
So that's all I have.
All right, any questions for Mike? All right, we'll move on to appointments. I did talk to Perry before the meeting, and Jim had mentioned it during his report, so we'll go ahead and renew Daniel and Perry to the Light and Power Board. So it'll take 2 appointments off the list, and we will get together and try to figure out Arbor Board in the next couple of weeks. Thank you, Perry. Council comments, Cliff.
I would just like to thank Mr. Burns for his financial acumen. Big word.
Love it.
I have no idea what it means, but I think it means he does a good job with our budget. Been watching him for, 5 years? It gets better every year. I think the citizens of Lowell can go to sleep tonight knowing that our money is in good hands, and I know you have a staff that helps you, but I appreciate what everybody does. That's what I got.
Thank you, Jim.
I will not be attending the Memorial Day Parade this year, so I'll be out of town, so unfortunately can't do that. And again, Mike, thank you on you and your team. And that's what I got.
Excellent. Leah.
I will just echo the compliments on the budget.
Mark.
So as most of you know, for Lyman Appreciation, I put on a dinner for them. This year, the mayor and I, and I believe Jim's going to be there to help us, and Cliff's going to come too. He may not want to, but that'll be all right. We're going to do a breakfast for the DPW guys, and I reached out to Mike and I reached out to some of the key people in town that always want to help, don't want any recognition for it. They And when we simply asked, they said, sure, not a problem. We will handle that ASAP. So Liz Baker wants to come and help. That'll be fun to have Lizzie be in charge. If you notice, the guys do an excellent job. The snow's moved quickly. The lawns are all manicured. They spend countless hours out at the cemetery mowing it and weed whipping it and making it always look good. So if you run into our guys, tell them thanks. That you appreciate them because they do a lot of work. Most of it we don't see. So there you go.
And what day was that again, Marty?
That'll be the 22nd.
Monday, it was 7:30, right?
7:30, yep.
I'm
Yeah,
going
anybody wants to
breakfast
come and
at
help.
7:30 in the evening. That's cool.
Breakfast for dinner.
Yeah,
Yeah, buddy.
I like that.
I will say that I reached out to a local business seeking a small donation, and I'm not allowed to say who, because they don't want to be recognized, but they funded the entire breakfast. Potatoes, eggs, bacon, sausage, bread, muffins, milk, juice, everything. And it went way better than I expected, so it's nice to see that the recognition for DPW doesn't stop at council comments every day. In the works for this upcoming September, the weekend following Fallsburg, Marty and I, in the spirit of unfriendly competition, will be putting together a charity softball game for the police department to play the fire department. Used to be a basketball game when I first came here every year, and then a certain team won too many years in a row, so the other team stopped showing up. The idea is to get a traveling trophy that'll go to the station of the winner. We will hopefully have concessions available and donations instead of ticket sales. And the money we raise, 100% of it will go to whatever charity the winning team decides they want it to go to.
Is this gonna be an outdoor activity,
Yeah.
basketball?
Softball.
Is it going to be on donkeys?
Yes. Geese to the
Bring
winner.
back donkey baseball.
And the team that didn't want to play anymore because they kept getting beat.
You can't say that.
I know, but they drive red trucks. You keep it. I didn't say who it was.
For the record, they told me not to say that.
I know.
So technically,
They put blood and horn at me.
So we're going to work on that this summer. That'll be a cool thing. I've attended a couple Muskegon Fire versus PD hockey games. I've attended a couple GR Fire versus GRPD hockey games. And the events are usually well attended, and it's fun, and it's friendly, and it's competitive. And we don't have a hockey rink, so softball it is. They'll be trying out Ian Shears. If he's good, the police get him. If he's not good, he'll be on the fire.
I'll be more than happy to be the umpire behind home plate. I've
Already
done it
good.
before in the past. So
Okay.
I'm glad to do that.
You gonna yell at him?
No,
Then I already have
because I
somebody
could
for
get
you.
stopped. More than likely.
All right, that's all I have, but hopefully we'll do a good job of advertising that, and I think this community will turn out in, like they do for every event, and exceed expectations. So with that, I'll look for a motion to go into closed session to discuss labor negotiations pursuant to MCL 15.2681C.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Motion and a second to go into closed session. Any discussion? Susan?
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Groves.
Yes.
Mayor DeVore.
Yes.
Councilmember Salzweedl.
Yes.
Councilmember Yankovic.
Yeah.